ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm, of course, Nick McDaniel, and I am always joined by my Manscaped groomed buddy, Myron.
Yes. It's so good to be here again, folks. I'm not as up on wrestling this week as I usually am. I've been in the hospital with my beloved wife. She has been ill. She forced me to come home today to record because she said, Myron, you have thousands and thousands of people depending on you. People who listen to your show every week and think you and Nick both for all of the wrestling information you put out there. You have to go home and record because those people depend on you. And I said, honey, if that's what you want. And she says, Myron, do it for the listeners. And I said, okay, I'll be back at the hospital soon. And that's what I'm doing right now, folks. I'm recording so we can get this stuff out there and get back to our jobs.
Yeah, I didn't want to get into it, but I apologize for, especially all of our members, the ones over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com, Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. Do the search, the handles at Tapped Out Pod. We always get the show out to those members like immediately after we record, but we are recording a little bit later today than our typical, record time, which is, hey, totally understandable. Well wishes go out to Coop and hopes she, as what's the old wrestling saying, she kicks out at 2.
Yeah, she'll kick out.
Yeah,
she's in a one of those what they call it, a rest hold. They've got her in a rest hold right now. We keep thinking she's going to kick out. She's supposed to kick out today, but she just wanted to stay and keep eating the cooked carrots. She loves the hospital food. Yeah, so she's going to stay for another round of unsweetened tea and cooked carrots.
Yeah, make sure you're, again, on that YouTube channel, make sure you're liking the page, subscribing to the page, turning your notifications on, all that good stuff like normal. Hey, we got a lot of stuff to get into. This show, we are going to tell you up front, is going to be a little more indie-rific than most episodes that we typically do. We've got a lot going on here in Georgia, and there's some stuff that we just feel like completely deserves some attention this week. And when we get into it, we'll tell you where to find all the footage and all that good stuff as well. But before listen, Myron, what do I always tell you? Before it gets hot, got to groom it down. And there's nothing more I like to grooming down than with Manscaped.
Men, listen up. When it comes to keeping your privates in tip-top shape, use Manscaped's Lawnmower 4.0.
Bam!
Talking to you, Private Peters. It's time to shape and scape privates. This trimmer features skin-safe technology to help reduce the risk of nick and cuts when it comes to trimming privates.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I meant your actual privates.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
That was not an order. And because it's waterproof, you can trim the field, rain or shine. If you like power, the Lawnmower 4.0 has a powerful 7,000 RPM motor, a 4,000K LED spotlight, a wireless charging system, and it's even got a travel lock. So what are you waiting for? Get your privates ready for action and order your Lawnmower 4.0 today at manscaped.com. If you want the ultimate care package, check out the Performance Package 4.0. You'll get the Lawnmower 4.0 and the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer.
You smell that?
I sure do. I think it's coming from down in your trenches. Luckily, Manscaped includes the Crop Reviver Ball Toner Spray.
A refreshing spritz that's vegan and paraben-free?
I love the smell of ball toner in the morning. If you're using deodorant on your armpits, don't you think it's time for long-lasting protection on your groin grenades? That's why Manscaped also includes the Crop Preserver Anti-Chafing Ball Deodorant.
Fire in the hole!
Attention! Looking smooth, privates. Looking smooth. Get your privates ready to engage by ordering the Performance Package 4.0 by Manscaped today. Receive free worldwide shipping, a free pair of Manscaped boxer briefs, and a free Shed travel bag.
That's right, man. Hey, listen, it's summertime. It's hot. You're sweating. Got to take care of yourself. Make sure you order your Manscaped. What's wrong, Myron?
Hot, sweaty balls.
Exactly. You don't want that happening. That's why you need the crop preserver. It's just a little dab will do you, Myron. Let's leave it at
Smelling
that.
like spilled milk. Every time he starts rubbing that sauce all over them hand grenades, I get a little queasy just thinking about stinky old balls.
Yeah, well, listen, I'll tell you what wasn't stinky this week, Myron.
What's
Smackdown.
that? Woo!
WWE Smackdown was on. It was a great episode in our opinion. We both loved it. And look, I don't think there's anything more to talk about that you got to start with. SmackDown coming out of Night of Champions, everybody was asking, what's going to happen with the Usos? And then you hear, oh, they're not even here. And then, of course, Byron, what always happens when somebody's not supposed to be in the building?
I don't know. They're in the building. Of course,
Exactly.
It's wrestling.
Yeah.
They get in somehow. Somebody lets them in. There's a security guard somewhere who's been paid off or something, and the people always get in. It even happens in independent wrestling.
It does.
Just last night, David was holding the door open so Adrian could sneak in.
Yeah. Stuff happens everywhere, man. It's
almost like it's almost
like it's scripted or something.
Somebody was planning on that to happen.
So we're gonna dive into it, Myron. So we wonder like what's gonna happen. Where does I shared it and I'm like, dude, this story continues to get better and better, and the layers get peeled off like an onion over and over and over, and you almost had it. You had it. The tear started when they hug, and look, I ain't gonna lie to you. It got me jacked. I was wired when Solo stepped over beside his brothers. I mean, I was like, oh, snap.
Yes. Let's see. I have aged out of the demographic, so this wrestling is not aimed at me. But I have been watching wrestling much longer than anyone else in the demographic. And one thing I've noticed is this story seems to me to be the kind of storyline that might hold the test of time versus almost any other storyline I've ever seen, Nick.
Yeah. It is going to be a classic storyline for sure.
Is it going to go down there and go down with I'd like to talk to Tom? Is it going to be down there in the long-term storylines that people think about and talk about? Is it going to be something? Is it going to be something we talk about as older men, or is it going to be the kind of thing that if any of our kids were into wrestling, they'd talk about? Or
the generation today will talk about this one like we talk about the old ones. This is going to be, I think, their one that stands the test of time. I do think so, because like a good TV show. I make references to this. All in the Family. How poignant that's the show that I'm thinking of, right?
Yeah.
Because how many things spun off from All in the Family? The Jeffersons, Maude, on and on. And yet, in the storyline, we've had the Kevin Owens story. We've had the Sami Zayn story. We've had the Jimmy, in the beginning, we had the Jay story before it all kind of got started. So then we've got the the Sammy and Kevin together story. After, him trying to and then Sammy had joined them, and then literally like every little piece just dominoed into another story. And clearly at this point, when Jimmy has standing his ground now against Roman Reigns, he's had enough. Even Jay's still struggling with it. Solo kind of comes out kind of like, hey, it looks like he's going to be with them. And look, I thought for a moment, Roman was on the island of relevancy, easy for me to say, all alone. Did not happen that way.
Well, Solo's got to be next in line for the big character development. I mean, geez, I am loving it. I'm looking forward to Friday night just because they're on it. I like Monday Night Raw. Don't get me wrong, but Friday nights have got me more excited.
I tell you what's exciting about SmackDown is, like I said, is where the story's going. clearly at this point, we both go back and forth. And by the way, you love SmackDown. There's something I'm going to take to task for Monday Night Raw here in a minute. But when we talk a little bit about where they're heading, clearly at this point we have to say it's going to be the Usos versus Solo and Roman at Money in the Bank, correct?
Something in that nature. I would think it has to be some combination of that, or those people involved. It's going to be a heavy, Polynesian? Is that the word I'm looking for?
They're Samoan.
Samoan. There we go. I forget a lot of things. It's going to be a heavy Samoan main event.
Do you think they put that on last?
What
over the Money in the Bank? Money in the Bank.
No.
It's the name of the pay-per-view. PLE, sorry.
The women's Money in the Bank will go first match out. The men's will go right before the main event. That's the way I can.
I hold tradition where I think, like the Rumble, I think Money in the Bank has to go off the air with the guy standing on the top of the ladder holding the briefcase.
Yeah, if that guy was Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins already got the belt. If that guy was Edge, if that guy was AJ Styles, but Styles isn't in it, is he?
That's where I'm torn. I don't even know. There's who's in.
They haven't finished the qualifications yet. We're doing this on Sunday. Yeah. I think on Monday and Friday we're going to see more people qualify.
We are.
Is this the crowning of LA Knight as a legitimate competitor? Is this when we take him?
Knight. Yeah.
Is this when we take him from Impact TNA talent, NXT talent, and make him a legitimate wrestling WWE talent? Is that when we recognize his skill?
What's your take on him? I've always thought he was good in Impact. Yeah,
I love the guy. I think he's ready to go.
The knock, but what I do really like is I love the fact that it seems like that the crowd's starting to get, yes, give him the momentum that they can't deny, and that they're going to give him that little bit of a push at least to see what happens. I hope
solo push though, not with any dullards in the tag team.
Oh yeah, no, it's just him now. I think it's just him.
Yeah,
I'm really excited. I know people are like he's kind of a combination of Rock and Austin. Like you can kind of tell. And I told somebody the other day, I was like, when they were trying to say it like it was like a negative to him. They're like, he just wants to be the Rock or Austin. And I'm like, if you're gonna be a wrestler, that's kind of who you probably would want to be like. I mean, I get it. It's you shouldn't copy him, and I agree. But I just dig the character. I think he's good.
But Nick, how many new ideas are left? Okay. Every character there's ever been is based on something else, even if it goes back to history. Okay. Things are copied. Things are essentially copied from anything.
So I agree.
There's no new ideas under the sun.
So if he would be my pick to win, I would love to see him win this Money in the Bank. And here's the big if, I don't know where Cody is in all this. I know it seems like Cody's did an open challenge again to Brock.
Yes.
So if we get Cody Brock 3 at Money in the Bank, I guess so. I don't know. I was hoping Cody was in it. I was hoping Cody would win it so he could get the shot versus Roman. If he's not in it and he doesn't, I don't know what that does to my predictions for SummerSlam.
What's the date now on Money in the Bank?
July 1st, I believe.
Okay, so we got plenty of time between now and then.
Sure, but he's got to be in it. If he's wrestling Brock Lesnar, he ain't in the Money in the Bank match. So.
Well, that's the thing. We got plenty of time to get stipulations between now and Brock. Okay, cage match, dog collar match, something like that. They're not going to have 3 straight matches like that. They've got to have a gimmick for it, don't you think?
I mean, yeah, there'll probably be a gimmick in it, but I mean, you can't do a cage because you're already going to have Money in the Bank briefcases hanging from the thing. So you don't want a cage above it because that'll be interfere with the, you know what I'm saying? It won't, I guess, if they don't have a roof on it, but
they can have a Money in the Bank in a cage. And throw in tables, ladders, and chairs. They've done it before.
I don't know. Yeah, I would say something like with those two, do you do like last man standing or one of those kind of things or whatever? Maybe he knocks Brock out. You know, that's the hill to overclimb. Could he put Brock down for a 10 count?
Like, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but I'm thinking that, I honestly think that if this is a big if, I go back to Roman will face Jay at SummerSlam if Cody's not in the Money in the Bank and wins. I think Jey Uso wrestles Roman for the championship.
Well, that would sell. How Cody gets back in the mix, I don't know, but I think Jey might be.
If Cody doesn't win Money in the Bank, he's back at the Rumble. That's the next time.
And he won the Rumble. Ugh.
Because here's the thing, Myron. Here's where I'm going to go sideways on you. Because they're on separate brands. He can't really wrestle Roman because they're on separate brands. Oh, but wait. We are 3 weeks removed from a WWE draft, and here I go.
That was a technicality.
AJ Styles was on Raw. He's a SmackDown wrestler, and they gave me no real excuse other than like I'm supposed to go, well, it's just wrestling.
He was
what
there.
You told me. Look, I do this for when AEW does stuff like this. I'm just as vocal, so I'm going to do it the same because I'm trying. We're as fair as we can be. At least I am.
I'm totally biased.
Yes.
And one thing is, I will give you the ultimate reason. AJ Styles can do nothing wrong.
Okay. I didn't say AJ did anything wrong. What
WWE
told me. No,
AJ
what
Styles,
WWE told me
it cannot be incorrect.
I wasted 5 hours of my life watching the draft because it didn't matter because they could break those rules for whatever reason. Listen, lie to me. Give me something. Tell him he was, say, hey, they challenge, because your answer was, well, he had to wrestle. They challenged him. No, Adam Pearce could have said, he's a SmackDown star. We can't be liable if he gets injured. He can't wrestle, and then something happens with SmackDown management, and they work it out, and then he can wrestle. But give me that explanation. At least lie to me. And then I'm slapped in the face with a bigger insult because then I hear Cody's going to be on SmackDown for whatever reason. He's going to be on SmackDown. Why?
Nick,
he's a Raw guy.
One of my favorite things about wrestling is I don't have to think. I got 2-3 hours. I can just sit there and relax, and I can just watch. I ain't like those people that sit there and break it down.
I'm gonna call you on your bullshit right here. You don't like certain products because they don't make sense to you. Like, how did he do that? How did that doesn't make any sense. And my argument is, if you ain't thinking, you shouldn't have to worry about it not making sense.
But I like the stuff I understand. I like.
You shouldn't have to understand it, Myron.
Oh, well, fuck, Nick. Just call me a goddamn liar, okay? I like to just sit there and enjoy it. And I don't need to break WWE down because I've been watching WWE since before I had hair on my balls.
Then you can't break down the other.
And I don't understand it as well because it's new and it's different. And they got little skinny people I've never seen before. And I don't know their daddies. And, their daddies weren't.
You were stunned by the fact that my answer was that one of the young bucks is a wizard, and that's how he can make his super kick explode. And you didn't like that answer because you wanted me to explain to you what did he do to make that explosion.
You fucking be able to tell me what's in his boot. Jim Cornette can tell me.
I told you, he's a wizard.
Well,
he said Patronum something and kicked like Harry Potter, and it went off.
Harry Potter bullshit.
By the way, I don't watch Harry Potter, and I don't like it. Okay, by the way, I actually saw some this weekend because the wife was watching them while she was sick on the couch. She was watching some of them on your favorite channel to watch. Bravo was running Harry Potter all weekend.
God, I'm Melissa. I'm glad Melissa was in the hospital. If she'd have found out about that bullshit, she'd have called damn every person at Bravo.
I wanted to know where her real housewives of
Harry Potter on Bravo.
Yeah.
I have so many horrible.
Because every fucking commercial that came across when I was walking around doing shit was the skanks of the OC and
it's nothing but iniquity.
Yeah,
it's just sinning
and the destructive marriages of hip hop. That one was on, and
it's just
all kinds of shit.
It's just let's just sprinkle our jizz everywhere like rain.
Yeah.
It's just, and these guys are like, I'm 45 and I still dress like I'm 18, and I got
let's
the
backpedal up. Let's digress.
My mustache looks worse than Myron's, and I want to make an entire TV show about it. Let's go back.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because we both would bitch about that for 20 minutes. And
I can bitch about anything. And I here's my thing. I'm tired about people bitching about wrestling. That's what I'm tired about. If you don't watch it. We laugh about somebody having a magic exploding shoe for fun. Nick picks at me about WWE for fun. We laughed about AJ being on the wrong program. We pick at each other for fun. If you don't want to watch this stuff, turn it off. If you think a little man with a magic boot breaks the laws of physics in wrestling, and you've got Jim Cornette's eye in the bottom of a man's shoe, and it can see what's in that shoe, and that ruins wrestling for you, turn it off.
Yeah, I agree.
If you don't want to watch it, turn it off. Don't tell me on the internet it's bad. Turn it off. Go outside. I'm not going to. I'm going to sit there and watch wrestling.
Yeah. But, hey, okay. I guess I know one thing you're itching to watch.
What's that?
This past Wednesday night, we found out that CM Punk officially, now we thought we pretty were sure it's going to happen, but it is officially announced he will be at the debut show of Collision for AEW. And I knew when I saw them announce that, I said, ain't no way Myron's missing this when it comes out on that day.
Oh, no, I wrote it down.
Yeah.
What day? I wrote everything down.
You put it down on your Google Calendar. Is he a vegetarian? I don't think so. I don't know.
Does he like hot? I'm trying to remember. There's one guy that's supposed to like hot dogs, but he's from Chicago. He's supposed to like hot dogs, right?
Yeah, I thought everybody in Chicago liked hot dogs. I could be wrong. By the way, I ate a couple this weekend.
Well, you went to a wrestling event. It's part of the deal.
Yeah, but I did it at home. Air fryer hot dogs. I'll teach you that recipe off the air.
Oh.
Put the hot dog. Yeah, put them in the air fryer. Cook the hot dog for a while. By the way, King Hawaiian hot dog buns.
Okay.
Put them on there. Put the cheese on it. Put it back into the air fryer to toast the bun and melt the cheese, and then pull that bad boy out. And then, the wife likes coleslaw on hers. Nick prefers, you ready for this? Yeah. I like ketchup, but then I got a little frisky this weekend, and I said, I'm going to put a little mayonnaise and ketchup on that hot dog.
Oh. As I've got older, I have stopped putting ketchup on my hot dogs. Just mustard. But mayonnaise, I'll eat mayonnaise on a banana sandwich. Okay?
I won't tell you what I'll eat mayonnaise on. Tuna fish.
Well, of course, I just went to Subway and had extra mayonnaise put on my tuna fish.
Exactly.
I want mayonnaise, salt, and pepper, and onions. And I want to have the kind of breath nobody will talk to me for a week, because on the most part, outside of wrestling shows, I don't like talking to people.
Well, you know who doesn't like being talked to? CM Punk. Back to our point. Apparently, he doesn't like to be talked to. But listen, I put it out there, and I'm glad that they put it out there. Let's get this is rumor and innuendo. Ticket sales were a little shaky. So this will right that ship. They will sell a bunch of tickets. Everything's gonna be all right. Hey,
I hope it works.
They will. You ready for this? Nick's bold ass prediction for Collision. Now that Punk's debuting or returning, not debuting, they will break 1 million on that show.
Oh yeah, for the first month or two, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I hope it works. That's the thing. I hope this works. I hope they can figure it out. I hope CM Punk will not be a dick. And this can work. Survey says it's going to be hard for him not to be a dick, since he's continually been a dick.
Unlike a lot of people, I don't have a dislike, because here's the thing. I don't know CM Punk, so I don't dislike CM Punk. I think, and I've stood behind this statement, I think CM Punk's overrated. Now,
yeah,
Jack Brunson, friend of the show, I will say we had a saying that we coined a long time ago. Just because I think you're overrated doesn't mean I don't think you're any good.
Well, I thought you were going to say Jack was overrated, and I was going to agree with you.
No, Jack is underrated. But
in his own mind.
No. Jack.
By
Jack
what? What
underrated.
are you rating him on?
What the typical opinion of Jack is? I think he's better than that. That's what I think he's underrated.
You're better. Oh, the only thing he's better. Only thing Jack is better in than what people think. Most people think about him.
CM Punk, on the other hand, I think like if a lot of people think like, oh, like on a scale of 1 to 10, he's a fucking 10, fucking 10. Nick does not think so. I think he's pretty good on the mic. He's better on the mic than he is. I think he's pretty good in the ring. I don't think he's great anymore. I don't know that I ever thought he was. But that's my opinion. It doesn't mean jack shit. Speaking of Jack, right? My opinion doesn't mean jack shit other than to me. I think he's overrated, and I think the newness. Look, when he did debut, when he first got there, what did I say? Show me where they are in 6 to 8 months after he's here. They were right back to where they were. I don't think he had any. Now look, and I know ratings, and we can have that whole argument or whatever. I heard somebody try to say like he was the biggest draw in pro wrestling right now. I think Chris Jericho is more valuable to them than CM Punk is. That's my opinion.
Well, you're talking day to day. You're talking about somebody who helps out, somebody who holds Tony Khan's hand, somebody who helps Tony Khan. Okay. CM Punk is, how can you miss me if I don't go away? Every time CM Punk becomes important, he goes away.
CM Punk is, I'm great, and if you don't believe me, ask me, I'll tell you. I think, and I've said it back then, Myron, the mythology grew because of his absence. If CM Punk had stayed in wrestling, I don't think he's remotely in a place in the legend and lore of wrestling that most people think he is now.
Okay, he's exactly like when I was drinking, there were always bourbons that you could never find. These rare bourbons, and everybody would tell you how good they were. But I would search and I'd find them and I'd drink them and I'd be like, that's okay. But the fact I had to look for them all that time, that's what made them special, is the look. Well, once you got them, you realize they were just okay.
Is CM Punk a McRib?
Oh, Jesus. He is the mysterious McRib of sandwiches and wrestlers. Because, I'd have to agree on that, Nick. I mean, he's okay.
He goes away for so long, you forget how he really is. And then when you bite into it the first time, you're like, oh, this is good. It's because you haven't had one. After you eat about your 6th or 7th one, you're kind of like,
I've never known anybody who ate 2 McRibs. You eat one and you don't come back for a second one. Now, I know you probably ate 2, maybe 3 or 4.
I don't.
I don't know, man.
I have a new favorite. You experienced my new favorite.
Well, you have economized a Big Mac, and I had to sit and think about it for at least 5 miles last night after watching you do it, because you were right. You cut the price of a Big Mac in half, and all you had to do was remove the center bun and lower your carbohydrates at the same time.
Yeah.
And who the hell likes sesame seeds?
2 McDoubles, no ketchup, no mustard, add mac sauce and lettuce. It's like $4. It's like you can get two of them for the price of less than the price of 1 Big Mac. All they just take the middle bun out, and then there's something else. Terry Lawler, reach out to me. I can't remember. He actually told me what the difference is, by the way, in a McDouble. Oh, it's a piece of cheese. A McDouble and a double cheeseburger. The only difference they charge you more for is 1 fucking piece of cheese. That's what it is. Anyway, the shit you will learn on our show is amazing.
No, the shit you'll learn from Terry Lawler. That man is like an encyclopedia of everything. Okay. Yeah. Oh, did you see Air Paris's car?
Yes. Shout out to Frankie Paris. Has a General Lee. He has the Charger.
Those Chargers are extremely rare.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they wrecked every damn one in the country on that show.
Well, he doesn't have like an actual I don't think he's got an actual General Lee. He's got just a Charger.
No. Is it the same year?
Yeah.
That same year of Charger, they almost wrecked every single one.
I want a picture of it, by the way, when hey, key phrases, listen very carefully. When the numbers are painted on the door.
You can leave the top off. Yeah. Nah.
If you're going to have a General Lee, you got to have a General Lee. Let's move on. We don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But anyway, back to the point at hand. CM Punk, does he really make an impact for Collision? Short term, 100%. He's going to be out of the roof. He's going to sell a ton of merchandise, buy all that good stuff. I just think long term we will see what happens.
I hope it works out for everybody concerned. I hope everybody is satisfied with it, even the fans. I think it's good for wrestling if it works.
On Patreon, I'm going to share why I don't think the Saturday show is a good we're not going to share it. I shared it with you in the car the other day.
Yeah.
And some people I've discussed it with. Why I don't think the Saturday show is necessarily good for everybody. And essentially, by the way, behind the paywall, I'm going to do. I'll
the only issue in my mind is it runs up against PLEs. And God, I hate saying that.
Does that hold on? Does that mean going forward, all AEW pay-per-views, because they're pay-per-views, will they have to be on Sundays now? Because because it's 6 to 8, isn't it?
So you're just going to do pre-shows on those weekends?
Basically, those weekends, you could just have two. Yeah, those people are going to be in a fucking show for like 8 hours. Because the AEW pay-per-views last for like 4 or 5 hours sometimes. Stack 2 more on there. You're going to be in there for 6 or 7 hours for wrestling if they do TV in front of it. Or I just say they just move them all to Sundays. I just don't think you even bother to try to do Saturdays anymore. You just move all your pay-per-views to Sunday at that point.
You're going to get the building for 2 nights anyway, aren't you?
Yeah. You're just going to run the building for 2 nights and boom, 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 and you're done. Bippity boppity boom. The only other way you could do it is not do a live show, but that's what they paid you for, is a live show. So I think they moved to that. So anyway, that is that. But coming out of Double or Nothing, lots of cool stuff. By the way, if you have not watched the Media Scrum, I don't typically watch them. The MJF segment of the Media Scrum is hilarious.
MJF,
yeah,
God, he is like somebody went back in time and pulled one of the old guys and brought them back.
Yeah,
it's so good.
So speaking of going back, Forbidden Door is going. We're going back to the Forbidden Door again.
I did that once, but it just left the sticky mess everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's a disaster.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're going to get Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson challenges Okada. I won't lie to you. The Ospreay Kenny match does absolutely nothing for me. Okada versus Bryan Danielson. Yes, I'm in on that one. I'm a fan of both.
Yeah, to be fair, to get me to want to watch a match, you know what I mean? A match where it's a wrestling match.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be something that good.
Yeah.
And well done between 2 people I respect. Most of the time I just want to watch a really good wrestling match. Yeah. Like Seth Rollins to me is one of the favorite people to watch because he's enough of both. But if Okada and Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, I would want to watch that because that's going to be a quality clinic type thing. In
all fairness, they're going to have to give me more than that to buy the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I'm gonna have to see what else they stroll out there before I'm in on it. But that match does intrigue me. I would really enjoy that one. So look, I told you early on we're gonna do a lot more of the Indy stuff here in Georgia that occurred and is going to occur this weekend. But before we do that, our favorite segment, it seems like, going forward, like we've done in the past few weeks, Pro Wrestling Tees Shirt of the Week. This week, we went with somebody we saw just last night, and it was kind of funny. I actually told him, like, hey, you're going to be the Shirt of the Week this week. I was, and who is it, Myron?
The Exotic Youth. Wow.
Yeah,
I tell you what. I just I can't respect these guys more. It's like you're talking to somebody who's 40 or 50 years old that's been in the wrestling business forever. They understand more about the wrestling business. And I don't understand anything about the wrestling business, but I'm a person who understands a lot of things. And I understand when someone knows what the hell they're talking about and people are full of knowledge. And these guys are so far ahead of most people we talk to. It's amazing. And they're just dynamic heels. They are so good at making people hate them. A very Midnight Express type thing. A classic villain thing. People hate them. They get over so easily. The Exotic Youth are the most hateable, probably one of the best heel tag teams in independent wrestling today, in my opinion.
Some of the most punchable faces in wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah. Check out the merch, Pro Wrestling Tees. The link will be in the show notes. And, of course, we share it every week. It'll be on our social media as well. Go out and buy a shirt, man. Look, go over there. Zach Mosley's got a shirt. Bryce Cannon's got a shirt. Cornelius Pepperbottom's got a shirt. Don't buy one. Buy all three.
There needs to be a shirt for Chop of the Year, which I would award to Miss Diana Michelle, the world's greatest ring announcer, on Cornelius Pepperbottom, which was the Chop heard round the world. I guarantee her hand wound up looking like a catcher's mitt on that man's chest. Ow!
Yeah, it was pretty good. She got him good. Which that occurred, by the way. So let's talk about that a little bit. Last night we were at Southern Fried Championship Wrestling. They crowned their first ever women's champion via a tournament that they held. But you kind of addressing what we'll do the women in a group. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the. They had a singles competition, Zach Mosley versus Logan Creed. Yes, Logan Creed was on the card. And boy, did Monroe miss him. I mean, that reception was just off the charts. And I was like, they very much had a great yin to the yang, very much the heel to the baby, and with Zach Mosley in that match with him.
Independent wrestling should be majored by PPSI. That's pops per square inch. Okay? And if I had a rating, that Logan Creed pop was almost the biggest pop of the night. It was the number 2 pop of the night just when he came out there. And that old Logan Creed music came on, and he came out there walking fast in his old gear and his old paint, and those people just went nuts. It was wonderful. Yeah. Warm feeling, stand up. Logan's acknowledging the crowd, shaking hands. Those rednecks were happy. It was just so good.
They got the family involved.
The family was involved. Yeah. His wife was in the tournament.
Yep. And then I will tell people a lot. Watch that match will come out. It will be on Southern Fried Championship Wrestling's YouTube channel. Watch the match. Why? It's a match guys should strive to have. MJF, one of the things I loved about the media scrum is quit trying to kill yourself to appease the fans. Give them what they really want. They want the emotion, and they want they want to be emotionally invested. And my friends, that's what we got in that match. By the way, it's what we got all night long, actually, which we'll address that a little bit more as we go along. But I cannot say enough positives. We have missed Logan Creed. Georgia Wrestling has missed Logan Creed.
Yes.
Independent Wrestling has missed Logan Creed. Any face, fashion, form, whatever we get, wrestling needs Logan Creed. That's my take.
Now, I love Cruel. Don't get me wrong. I love that.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry. That's what I said by any.
But Logan Creed was just so important to Georgia Wrestling that he grew outside of Georgia Wrestling. Okay. the responses are so powerful. The people loved him. And when you bring out the biggest chicken shit heel on the independent circuit versus the most popular big guy there is, it's just going to be just music.
Yeah.
It's going to work perfectly.
Yeah. That's what I meant, though, by Myron, is any form we get of him, whether it's Cruel, Logan Creed, etc. My take is
you need more.
His
injury,
we need more.
God, his injury was like going cold turkey on liquor. You know, it was hard. I forgot. We got to talk to him. We talked to him on a regular basis, hanging around shows, because that's what we do. We're hangers. We like to go and hang around. But just seeing him live again was amazing.
Yeah, I agree. Now let's dive into the meat and potatoes of the evening. We did have the 8-women tournament to crown. Listen, and it's another saying that I always say: just because things are predictable doesn't mean they're not good. I did get the finals. I did miss one match, I believe, in my picks last week. I did get the finals correct, and I did get the winner as well. Which again, and everybody's like, oh, well, and look, there was some guys behind us that were like, oh, well, this is what they're going to do. And they're going to go, oh, it's predictable. And I'm like, but it was fucking good.
Did anybody in the building, which was the loudest pop of the night when she won, did anybody in the building complain about the finish?
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Logan Creed's wife, won. Okay. In an amazing fashion, in a wonderful match, and the crowd went nuts.
I always, like, we were talking about it afterwards. In the match, and it was a great, by the way. We know who gets credit for it, right?
Yes.
But who deserves a lot of this credit? It shouldn't be just Todd. It should also be the 8 women involved. What I felt happened last night. The matches each individually had stories. Crystal and Brooklyn in the main event, in the finals, phenomenal story. Within, that's the crazy thing. But within the show, there was a larger story told with a bunch of smaller stories being told to get there.
Yes.
And it just piece by piece by piece. And last time I checked, that's what booking's really about.
Yes.
The booker,
was there a gap?
Whatever.
Was there a problem? Did you ever see anything? And there were problems that I didn't even see at all.
Yeah.
There were things that went wrong that you had to tell me about later that you didn't know about till after the show.
Right. And then the great thing is they did a phenomenal job weaving some things. Look, we're going to get there, so don't jump ahead of me. I know you want to. They did a lot of great things about Adrian Hawkins and Nick Halen having a confrontation. CT Keys being there, like all these little pieces setting up where we're going next weekend, kind of this, and it was a really good flow. It was really good.
They gave the women breaks while putting over next weekend's show at the same time. They didn't just have a bunch of intermissions between, so the women wouldn't have to work time after time. They had little spots for the men to come out to put over next week's shindig while the women could catch their breath.
Yep. And then, of course, like we said, look, I know I'm first and foremost, congratulations to go out to Brooklyn Creed. She is the first ever Southern Fried, women's champion. 100% nothing but
yes.
Picked it. I drafted her in our draft a few weeks ago when we did our draft. 100% think that. There's your power couple, in especially in Georgia wrestling right now, Brooklyn and Logan Creed. There you go. It's a power couple from However, I do want to tip a cap. Crystal Rose battled all the way through, through an injury, worked her way all the way to the end. Look, there's a reason why she is where she is. She's an award-winning, female wrestler of the year, on and on and on. She's been, like I said, she's one of the, you always say it, she's one of the toughest women in wrestling.
Yeah, she really stole the show. Yeah. She did great. She did great. Danny, that was, to me, the big surprise is we hadn't seen Danny since she came back for her injury. And I know she worked MomoCon, but we hadn't got to see her. And she was so crisp.
Yep.
So sharp. She looked good. It looked like she hadn't missed a minute. If anything else, she'd gotten better. I was very impressed with her.
So super excited about Danny's future with, like I said, how good she looked, how great of a showing she had, and more down the road. That put a tip, that ended that's where we're going to end there, because we got to talk about a little bit about next weekend. Southern Fried doing back-to-back weekends, 10th anniversary for Shindig 10.
Shindig. Okay, folks. It's the WrestleMania of Southern Fried. Southern Honor has their own show, big shows. Anarchy had their big shows. Just about every promotion has their big show. Shindig is on 10 years, folks. It is a phenomenal program.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be packed out. If y'all ain't going to Shindig, you're going to miss it. I would, if you're listening to me in bordering states or South Georgia, pack a bag and drive up to 405 Community Court, Monroe, Georgia, and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be great.
We're going to see Happy Madness versus Hunter James and Ziggy Perez. If they lose, they're done. Happy Madness.
Yes.
If they cannot win, they're done. Look, we're not going to go down the rabbit hole. I thought about it a little bit. Thoughts and prayers. Shout out. Hope nothing but the best. Hopefully, because we don't know. We haven't talked to anybody today about Sal's condition after up at NWA. So we'll find a little bit more about that this week, hopefully. And hopefully he'll be okay by the time we get to Shindig. Carly Bravo going to come back after the big news. He is signed. He is All Elite. Ring of Honor. He'll be back, so it's going to be one of the last chances you might get to see him. So come on out. Exotic Youth will be there against Jaden Vane and Alex Keitel. We got AC Mack versus The Wall. I'm sorry, I'm going over all this because I got the card in front of me. As you put it, Adrian Hawkins versus The World. It's like the entire approved. It is. He's got Rob Adonis, Bobby Moore, and Nick Kalen. He's got.
I think he has to go through those first two before he gets to Nick Halen. So that's going to be a hell of a match. And Hawkins is. I mean, Hawkins has always been a badass.
Yeah.
I mean, since we've been watching Southern Pride, he's always been
what a reaction he got freaking at the women.
Because your biggest heels get your biggest baby face pops when they turn.
Exactly.
Oh,
Will Caution, Billy Buck. That one's been building for months.
Yes.
Najicism and Techi facing off, and of course
Dr. Brock is coming in for that one.
Could be. And then of course your main event is going to be CT Keys versus Michael Judas for the Southern Fried Heavyweight Championship. That one's look, this is to me, I know, and a lot of people will say what they will. This will be the moment that defines CT Keys' championship reign. Yes. I know he's done a lot, and I'm not knocking anything he's done up to this point. If he can knock off the man, it cements him in Southern Fried's history as one of their top champions of all time.
Oh yeah. So that's and you look at that card and you see so many people who could be booked right now on AEW. So many people who be now Ring of Honor, and some people who are going to be in the future. Yeah. That's just a dynamite card, folks.
Yeah. I mean, listen, and that's, by the way, we're still not done. There's 2 other freaking shows to talk about. Friday night, the night before Shindig, we'll be in Canton, Georgia, and just like you said, guys like Nick Halen's going to wrestle AC Mack. If Mack wins, he's going to be the sole Georgia Wrestling History Wrestler of the Year.
They had Nick a tie last year.
Yeah, that is correct.
So they're going to determine it on the field of battle for Georgia Wrestling History Wrestler of the Year.
Yep. Then you're going to have Happy Madness versus the Hierarchy. That one's going to be for the titles there. Yes. Shoot Taylor returns. He will fight the birthday boy himself, Chip Day. Happy birthday this week to Chip.
Happy birthday, Chip.
Yeah. Dream Girl Ellie, one of our favorites. She will be back. She is going to be in Southern Honor. Danny Jordan kind of taking the reins of the women's division there and bringing in her to face Kylie Alexa. Easy for me to say. Owen Knight's going to be there. Movie Mike's going to be there wrestling Orion, the artist formerly known as Blanco Loco. So Orion is going to be there making his debut, I guess if you want to call it that. The Kenway versus Bryce Cannon. Look, the youth is everywhere. That's why we have the shirt. Yeah, they're freaking everywhere. But I think the big moment everybody's looking forward to at Southern Honor is going to be Todd Sexton explaining himself, in his actions in the match with Michael Judas at the last show. Made me twitch a little bit when they announced that he was the referee last night.
Yeah. The last time Todd Sexton was the referee, he influences the outcome of a championship match and gets Michael Judas the title. I'm stuttering. I'm so just overcome with this whole thing. So last night when they announced he's the referee for the title match, everybody's like, no, he can't be trusted. Everybody realized that.
Then you got to remember though, but it's in a different building.
Different, but people look. Universe. That's how impressive it's getting. You have fans that are going from one side of Georgia to another to see independent wrestling. That's a great thing.
But here's the thing. Yes, I agree. But I love the fact that it's kind of like keeping it's like the actor who did a Marvel and a DC movie. Like, you can keep it separated. You got to keep them separated. So, look, that's where we will be there Friday in Canton at the Action Building. Get in your car on Friday night. Look, leave work early. Don't go at all. Take the day off. Come up and make it a whole thing. So hopefully we'll see you there Friday at Canton in the Action Building. Southern Honor 51 should be a blast. Now, I know we're going to be at Shindig. I know that. We talked about that. By the way, I've got a ball game earlier in the day that I got to tell you about that later. Yeah. I'll be at the Striper Stadium. I'll explain that. But that's the other reason. Monroe is doable. We will be at Shindig. We wouldn't miss that for anything. But if you're a little further towards the east and the south, and you're over down towards like that Augusta way, that area down in Thompson. Is it Thompson?
Oh,
I always mess it up. Viral Pro Wrestling is going to be.
God, that card looks so good,
dude.
Holy crap!
Yeah, lots of names on there. Look, the night before we talked about it, Orion, he's in the team Level X. They will be there. Dream Girl Ellie will be there. Vari Morales is Suicide, and of course, on and on a bunch of other people. Owen Knight is your champion. He's got his bodyguard, henchman, whatever you want to call him. The big muscle, that's what I prefer to go in with. John Davis with him. That show should be rocking. So if you're in the area, Thompson, Georgia. So think about that, Myron. It's kind of where I'm getting at, man. You got all these matches going on. That's just over in that area.
Yeah.
Saturday night, Viral's running and Southern Fried's running. Friday night, we'll be at Southern Honor. It's just, look, we love these back-to-backs. The double headers are always fun.
I don't really know.
It'll wear you out.
I don't really know if there's any state in the country that's able to put on the quality of independent wrestling like Georgia is on a monthly, weekly basis. I mean, it's really good. And you've got people all over the state doing it now too. We're not just having somebody putting up a ring, a tiny ring in a gym somewhere and nobody's showing up for it. These are packed shows with really, really talented wrestlers who are all going up to the big leagues. I just can't be more satisfied with what I'm getting to see.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So lots of big stuff, man. Like I said, going on. More big stuff. We've talked about some stuff in the car last night. We legit have it. We have it worked out now. So on a weekly basis, there's going to be some more stuff. Hey, Myron, we're getting more contributors.
More contributors, yes.
More contributors. Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast over on YouTube. If you're a member there, we're going to start having like posts, actually like written posts, not just video posts. Going to do some reviews of shows, etc. Bonus stuff coming on a more regular basis. YouTube.com search Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, the handle at Tapped Out Pod. Make sure you're liking the page, subscribing, turning your notifications on, all the good shit like you're supposed to do. But then, as simple as that, become a member, because all of the new stuff that we just talked about will be behind the paywall. It will not be on our audio, but however, look, we got it. There's a lot of you guys who are big Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, wherever and whenever you are listening, and, we appreciate that. But make sure you are subscribing, and make sure, hey, throw a 5-star rating and review if you feel so inclined. We would greatly appreciate that because, look, the audio was how we started. The YouTube is just kind of how we continue to grow. So that's just for us. We appreciate all your feedback that you give us on a regular basis, man. So, well, Myron, is there anything else? Because I knew we were going to be cutting it close this week.
Yeah.
But what you got?
I actually cried this week about wrestling. It's pretty much, from what I heard, over for the Landmark Arena. A place that's seen some of the greatest independent wrestling, and a place where AJ Styles came out of, Xavier Woods came out of, Dusty Rhodes was in that building, New Jack was in that building. God knows who else has wrestled through there. Not the last time we went, we were there at one of the Christmas shows, wasn't it? Where Matt Riddle was there.
Oh, yeah.
Just all kinds of insane talent has been through that building.
The crazy
great
thing,
memories.
Austin Theory was on that same card.
Austin Theory was on that card.
Yeah.
Just Jesus Christ, some of the great wrestling we've seen there. I don't know what they're planning. Anarchy Wrestling, that was the last home promotion out of that building. I've been assured it's going to be good, but that building was special. And so I did tear up. I know the people that are in charge of things are capable and things are going to work out, but man, something about that old building. Yeah. And then the people writing tributes on Facebook have just been so emotional reading them. We'll miss you, building.
I shared Nigel. Nigel put up a YouTube video of a tribute for the Lamb. I shared it, and looks like it's gotten some traction. A lot of people looking at it.
Folks, you need to follow Nigel. Definitely. Nigel Sherrod on YouTube. I recommend him right after our YouTube. That's important.
It's simple. I shared it on my Facebook profile. Click on it; it'll take you right to it, and then you click and subscribe. So it'll make it easy for you to find.
He's got some amazing content and information about women's wrestling from back in the Moolah days on. No one knows more about women's wrestling from that era than him. So just look into that. So.
Man, big week, big week coming up this week with like I said, back-to-back shows, and if you're like I said, you can't miss a show. So between Friday night we've got Southern Honor, right there on the hat. Southern Fried on that one's on Saturday night. Viral's on Saturday night. Bunch of other stuff going on. Make sure, look, even though Rob Rod's not in town anymore, he may have moved to Florida, but he's still got the dedication. The Rob Rod report's still coming out. He's still putting, where all the shows are.
He still hasn't sent us that picture of us and him last time we saw him before he left.
Well, listen, look, puppies have been a little ill. He's been a little ill, so we're going to give him a pass. But yeah, he's, let's get the picture, man. We want to get that picture up.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I
might make it a background on my Facebook or something.
There you go. But anything else, brother, before we get out of here?
No. Like I said, if you ain't going to enjoy it, turn it off. Go watch golf or tennis.
Yep.
Or leave the wrestling to the people who appreciate it.
That's right, man. What's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.